Let's move it on to the other topic. Man United. It's really, really getting dark and gloomy at the club. And we're asking a very simple question. Is pressure mounting on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer? Is pressure mounting on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Man United manager? They've got what, 14 points, 15 points? 14 points, I believe, in the league. 14 in the league. They've not won their last two. They lost in the cup to West Ham, lost to Villa, they drew with Everton. There you have it. Man United, they are 14, or they are fourth. 1-4 lost, 1 drawn, 14 goals scored, 6 against. After the international break, the team will be properly tested. They've got Champions League games against Atalanta. They've got Premier League games against Liverpool and Chelsea in the mix. I think they have Arsenal somewhere. Mm-hmm. They've got Arsenal somewhere as well. They've got Watford somewhere as well. It's looking really, really tough. And some people think that it could be make or break time for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Daniel, the question still stands. Is he under pressure?
He is. And the club, of course, we've heard insiders come out to say that they trust him. He's a man for the job. But look, it can only go as far. Look, honestly speaking, you can't bring in, and the Cristiano Ronaldo factor is huge. Ronaldo cannot join your team, or he doesn't join your team to compete. He joins the team to win. And if he's not winning, then he has to be a very close second or win other things. And I'm talking about the league. If Man United is not winning the league, then they are winning other things. And the only other thing that can please Ronaldo other than the league is the Champions League. United are already out of the League Cup. So now they are competing on 3 fronts: FA Cup, Champions League, and the Premier League. If you look at Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's time at Manchester United and the talk of progress, to some extent, yes, but to some extent, no. I looked at last season and, of course, qualified for the Champions League, good job. But last season on the whole, I thought it was a failure, in quote. Why? Because United celebrated last 2 seasons because they had made the Champions League. And you go to a group stages in the Champions League and then go out and drop to the Europa League. You go to the Europa League, reach the final, and you don't win it. Do you get me? So it was, I don't see progress in that. From a semi-final in the Europa League 3 seasons ago to a final in the Europa League 2 seasons ago, that's not progress for Man United. That might be progress for Tottenham Hotspur, not Man United. So you cannot stand on that and say, yes, that is progress. Now, let's put this season into focus. United have not faced any of the top 6 teams at all. When the fixture list was announced for all the top 6 teams, everybody thought that by this time United should be top. Because even the tough teams they faced so far, in the Evertons and Aston Villa and West Ham, let me use Everton and Aston Villa. That's 2 games at home at Old Trafford. So that's your advantage. You go to West Ham, you win. That was good. But those 2 home games against Everton are showing problems that the team was having last season in getting over the line at Old Trafford. That is not progress. That's a repeat of what we are seeing last season. United's good away form is continuing. So you don't necessarily see any change in the team. Another problem, interesting question. Another problem is, look, his struggles in finding the balance, the right balance for the team. And I always say this thing, look, when a season starts, and I'm using club football, international football is different, but when a season starts and a club manager is struggling to find balance in his team, it raises, look, so many red flags in my head. Because for me, a top manager knows his players inside out. You understand their strengths, you understand their weaknesses, and you already have an idea after spending pre-season with them, after playing several friendly matches, you already have an idea how you are going to deploy them. If going into a season after pre-season, you decide to go and buy a player, or you bring in another player, or let go of another player, you know exactly what that player is coming to add into your team. Okay. So let me give you an example. Pep is not struggling to use Grealish. We've seen Grealish play the same role for at least 3-4 games. If he's changing it, it's defined. And we see what he's adding to Manchester City. Because it shows you that Pep had been thinking about this guy long ago. And he knew exactly how he was going to fit. So when Pep brought Grealish and we're sitting here struggling to understand, that's our job. Because he's already done his part. His job is to show us how he's going to use Grealish. And he's done that. But for Man United, first game, Pogba is starting on the left. Then Pogba drops into the middle. Fred is playing, is bad. Fred McTominay is bad. Matic comes in, is not working. And even the central defensive partnership. The first game, Maguire played with Lindelof. United conceded. They said it's Lindelof's fault. Varane came, first game, clean sheets, thanks to De Gea, not Varane. But of course, Varane has come. Things are going to change. Then they go to Southampton, they concede another poor goal. Then they concede, And all those games, Varane is there. Do you get me? So it's beginning to show that it's not necessarily the personnel in the team. There's something fundamentally wrong with the coaching. And look, no matter how much you love Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, you can't tell me that if you walk into a pool of managers and you offer them Paul Pogba, Bruno Fernandes, Jadon Sancho, Rafa Varane, Harry Maguire, Luke Shaw, Wan-Bissaka, and the icing on the cake is Cristiano, the greatest of all time, Ronaldo, and you give it to them, you can't tell me they will not smile and be happy and jump at the opportunity to use these players and also produce results. But the fact that 7 games into the season, United haven't faced any top team so far, they are struggling to score, they are struggling to create, they are struggling to keep clean sheets, they are struggling. Every single match United have played this season, they have struggled. That's a problem. And after the international break, Leicester away, then I think Arsenal comes. Then Chelsea, then Man City, then Atalanta in the Champions League.
That's what keeps Solskjaer in his job, if you ask him. He loves the big occasion and he always rises in the big occasion. So no surprises at all if he goes to the Etihad and gets a win under strange circumstances, comes to the bridge. I mean, he has looked at his record against Chelsea. You'd say it was probably under Frank Lampard.
Yeah,
but he has the blueprint in taking on a Chelsea side. And I think this is what has, to a large extent, kept him in his job. But the problem is clear for all to see. That double pivot role, the holding midfield role of McTominay and Fred is clearly not kicking. See, I said it on radio some time ago. It came with some backlash of people saying, see, this is a Chelsea fan trying to create an agenda. But see, let's face the facts as it stands. In every other front in this United team, I think they've got one of the best, if not the best in the league, from right back up until the last man up front. It's that central midfield area that's causing all the problems for Manchester United. Fred is at best a squad player, but you need someone who could run up and down the field, not to lose the balls, and make sure that he's able to cover for the back line.
So I'll take more of your thoughts. We'll take a snappy break. When we this is the Premier League preview show. When we come back, more of Jude's thoughts on Man United quickly. Welcome back. This is the Premier League preview show on Citi TV. Let me read this message that has come in. It's from Abeku in Cape Coast. He says, Ole needs that pressure. What baffles me a lot is that I can't fathom. Okay, what I can't fathom is when you least expect him to lose against the big guns, that's where he rises to the occasion and he will deceive us that he's the man for the job. But he's definitely not. Abeku from Cape Coast sending in that message. And I think he encapsulates a lot of the sentiments being expressed by a lot of Man United fans. A lot more people are gradually beginning to turn against Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Jude, you're making your point about Solskjaer's decision to play Scott McTominay and Fred in central midfield and why that is a problem for Man United.
It's a big problem because you ask yourself, what are the options? And the options are there for everyone to see. That's Donny van de Beek, who I agree to what Daniel's view on him for some time now as to his ability to survive in that 6 role for Manchester United. But what do? You give him a chance. In the League Cup when they lost to West Ham, it was a general poor team performance for Manchester United. But we saw glimpses of an improved performance from Donny van de Beek. And this season we saw him built up all of a sudden. Clearly he's taking his gym lessons very serious. So I think for the intelligence aspect of a role, that's the number 6 role, I think Donny van de Beek has it ahead of Fred. So what do? You give him the instructions and you make sure he plays according to instructions and leave the rest to the player. So I think Ole has let himself down a lot in terms of making the right decisions. Now look at their very last game, the draw just before the international break. You have Ronaldo, who is 36, probably not going to play for his country during the break, and you put him on the bench. And you wonder what went into his selection prior to that game.
Some people might argue, and I heard ex-Man United player Owen Hargreaves say that he was at the Champions League game against Villarreal. He said Ronaldo looked tired after the game. Maybe Solskjaer saw the same thing and said, let me rest this guy.
See,
and then maybe after 2 weeks,
Ronaldo has got to the level as a player where just by the mention of his name, it puts some fear in defenders. So you'd want to utilize all of these things in your army going against any opposition. And look at this Everton backline. Michael Keane, these are not players who are really experienced in terms of handling the big boys. So I really struggle with some of the decisions Ole decides on match days. But that being said, the bigger problem for this United team, which I think when addressed would automatically transform this team into serious title contenders, is fixing that 6th row. See, if they had a player in Camavinga or even Saul Niguez who they missed out on, I think it would have really changed the team a lot.
But Saul struggling at Chelsea.
It's probably
going to make it
the manner in which Tuchel put him out there in that first game was quite problematic for me, if you ask me. But that hasn't changed the makeup of the player in terms of his qualities. Okay. So I think the Maxos partnership, that's McTominay and Fred is clearly not working. There's something missing in that spark. And it's up to Ole to really find what's wrong and fix it.
Just a quick one, and this is what I always say about football. Perception usually carries common sense away and proper reasoning away. Last season, Ole's record against the top six was next to poor. He drew at home against Man City, drew at home against Chelsea, lost against Arsenal, got beaten 6-1 against Spurs, got beaten 4-2. It doesn't matter. Got beaten 6-1 against Spurs, got beaten 4-2 by Liverpool, drew away at Liverpool, of course, beat Man City, which was his only win against the top 6, drew at Chelsea, drew at Arsenal, right? And then, look, it's not a good record. The first time he had this baptism, especially when he was going through his poor period, and then United had a string of tough games, that's when he was able to beat the top teams. And all of a sudden, that perception of Ole doing well against top teams is beginning to rise. But when you sit down, you actually look at the numbers on paper, it's not been the best. It hasn't been the best. And that myth needs to be wiped out before it becomes too late.
All right, the people at Man United have got decisions to make, especially Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He's going through, or like he will be, like you said, he will be experiencing a very difficult part of October. Games against Arsenal, Chelsea, Man City, 2 back-to-back or 2 Champions League games against Atalanta. And that is complex, really.